I can take your car away. Okay. And I can take you off the car insurance and I can teach you a lesson and you will get it. You might be 26, you might be 30 something, but one day you are going to look back and you're going to be like, damn, my dad was right. I was an ungrateful little shit and I needed to get my baseball taken away and I needed to get a job and I needed to learn how to work and I didn't really know what gratitude was. I said, but if I'm being honest, Kobe, instead of having to take all these things away and giving you this long road like I had, I also could just give you the gift of gratitude right now.
Real business owner.
Whatever your situation is currently is not your forever situation.
That's really what real business owners is, man. Like, we don't care where you come from, where are you going?
Our goal and our job is to reduce the mistakes that you have to make or the money that you have to lose.
You want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be successful, don't give up.
You learn, adjust, and continue to move forward.
What's up, my friends? Welcome back to another episode of the Real Business Owners Podcast. And first, I got to ask, are you coming to hang out with us in Dallas, September 8th, 9th, and 10th, or not? Think about it. Like, you know, we need to be in these rooms together. You know, I've noticed, I read a post from Ryan Stewman because he just threw a pretty big event. And he read a post about a bunch of people that typically throw events and they're getting harder to fill the rooms up because people are scared about this economy. And I'm going to tell you guys something. I've been in business for a while now, okay, and I've had a lot of successes and I've had a lot of failures. That's why you listen to the podcast, because we share those. But like, guys, like, I've been through the 2007 and 8 and 9 and all that crap, and we thrived through it. And I'm telling you right now, like, buying into the fear and retracting is never a good strategy on growing your business. Being around other people that are facing the fear and tapping into their courage and investing into themselves anyway so that they can pivot in their businesses or grow their businesses is a much better strategy. And so I'm very, very, very confident in the friends that I have coming to speak that are thriving. These are people that I've literally made tens of millions of dollars with personally that are going to be coming and speaking on this stage. You know, my good friends like Jeff Lerner, my good friends like Keith Yackey and Garrett Gunderson. And, you know, dude, this is a room that you guys want to be in. So that's my pitch, but I'm backing it up. I mean it. Like, these are people you want to learn from, and I do not want you guys to not come because you're afraid and you feel like you need to save a few $100. That few $100 will multiply over and over and over and over again by getting your butt in the room. So make sure you come and join us. Plus, it's a really kind of a smaller event. It's only a couple, 250 people. So like, we're all going to hang out and I want to hang out with you. Okay. Now I want to jump into some things I want to talk to you guys about. Okay. Cause, I've had some things happen recently. Okay. And I want to share those things with you because that's what I like to do. Because sometimes we need reminders as business owners of like why we do the things that we do. And, I was just sharing this story and I thought I'd share it for a podcast, but I have my son, he's 16 years old. And I was kind of bummed out because, like, basically I do not let my kids miss our family trips because I feel like that is such an important time for us to bond as a family. And if you ask my oldest son, who was highly involved in baseball, like, it was like, sorry, you're not going to the Labor Day tournament, dude. Like, we've got the family camping trip. And so I always, like, you know, made him miss some of those bigger tournaments because family comes first, right? Well, I budged on that. I let my son stay home from our recent Hawaii trip, and I wasn't stoked about it, but I'm like, dude, you know what? He's working so hard. Like, this kid is obsessed. Like, I'm talking, you know, up at the gym by 5, you know, back home, ready, off to school, then to baseball practice, then to his personal training sessions on top of his personal workouts, and then his private batting lessons, you know? So, like, he's got, like, a performance coach that does specific movements, and, you know, then he's got batting coaches that he fits in, and he's got his travel ball, and he just got done with his high school ball, and, like, this kid has made baseball his life, right? And I support it. I want him to get his dreams, man. Like, if he thinks he can go pro, I think he can go pro. I want to give him everything he possibly can. But as a parent, sometimes we give our kids so much that we didn't have, that we do kind of create these entitlements, and we create these, you know, we spoil our kids, man. It is what it is, right? And like, it sucks when you reflect back on it and you realize like, man, they don't even appreciate it, right? And if they don't really appreciate not just what you do for them, but the just appreciation in all things, like how far are they really going to go? Right. And so I get home from our Hawaii trip. He's still in Arizona at this scouting event. And, his mom, my ex, she texted and reminded me I had a tournament to take him to the following week, a showcase. And, which is where they go and they do these, things for college recruiters and stuff. So, and so I'm like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, I'll make it work. I did actually I double booked myself, but I'll cancel my work thing and I'll take him. Well, then I'm like, you know what? I haven't even talked to him the whole time we've been in Hawaii and he's been at this baseball camp. So I pick up the phone and I call him and I'm like, listen up. I'm like, hey, bud, I missed you. I wish you would have been on the Hawaii trip, and maybe that came across as a guilt trip or something and that annoyed him, but really I just missed him. And I was like, I wanted to check in and see how your day's going. Or how your weekend went out there in Arizona. And he was like, it was shitty, Dad. And I'm like, oh, well, that sucks. Like, why was it shitty? Did you not get very much playing time? He's like, Dad, it's not high school ball. It's summer ball. Of course I'm getting playing time. I'm one of the best. And like, I admire his confidence, right? But like, if we really look at his numbers, like he really is super talented, but he's like, this last like 6 months, like, his batting averages dipped, and you can tell it's that frustration. And I'm sure you guys as business owners, you can relate, right? Like when you're forcing things, but you're like, why are things not going my way? So you try harder, but you just don't get a different result. In fact, you go backwards. Like I've noticed that happening with him. And, like I'm not that dad that's like pointing it out or beating them down with it or motivate them by letting them know how shitty they are or anything like that. Like I'm that dad that's like, okay, cool. Well, change your attitude, like, prove, like, if something's not working, try something different. Like, and I'm the dad that's like, you should be proud of yourself. And, I'm trying to program their minds to like, not need outside validation to whether they're like improving or not. Like they either realize it or it's not, kind of like that book, The Gap and the Gain. But anyway, not to make the story super long because there is a lesson in this, but he had this super negative tone. And, he used some foul language and, not even just in that moment where he said it went super shitty, and it's not effing high school ball. This is summer ball. But he was like, he literally said our team effing sucks. And I'm not even that mad about the foul language, okay? Because like I don't have the cleanest mouth either, okay? But he is 16 and he's talking to his parent. I kind of felt like it was disrespectful. So I said, yo, buddy, can you just tone it down a little bit? He's like, Dad, I'm at the Diamondbacks game, okay? Which is the professional baseball team for Arizona, right? And he's like, I'm at the baseball game and I'm trying to find my seat. I got to go. And I was like, whoa, buddy, you know what? Don't ask me for any help, okay? If you're going to treat me like that, you're done, okay? You're not going to get any more support from me. And I was mad. I said that out of anger, and I stayed mad. And so I told his mom, I said, you know what? I'm not taking him to that baseball tournament next week. And you know what? I'm taking my car back, right? Like, we haven't made this kid go get a job because he's so dedicated to his baseball. But what I realize is like your entire identity, okay? Because they're the baseball home, right? Like I'm not. Like that's not my thing. If it was my thing, my kids would be wrestlers. Like that's what I did as a high school wrestler. But like they all chose baseball and I supported it, but I'm not like all into it like they are. And I'm like, your guys' entire identity is around this baseball life. Like if he gets hurt, do you really care if he's like hurt or do you just care that he can't play baseball? If his grades go down, do you really care that he's like struggling in school or do you care that his coach is not going to let him play baseball because his grades are down? Like it's all about baseball. I said, it's not healthy. And you know what? On my weeks, because we split 50-50, I said on my weeks, I'm just going to be done with baseball for a while because he doesn't appreciate it. So I'm going to have him come home and turn his keys in and I'm taking everything away. And I didn't feel good about this conversation, but I kind of felt like I need to teach my son this hard lesson like I had, right? And I talked with my wife about it, my wife is such a godsend. Like she just has this ability to see people for who they are, and like she sees their greatness, and she's, you know, even through their flaws, like she sees the goodness in people. And so anyway, she always gives me these great like insights of things, right? And so I talked to her about it, and I'm telling her how frustrated I am. I'm gonna teach this kid a lesson. He's gonna appreciate me one day. And you know, she's like, okay, well, is that like what worked for you? You know, is that what worked for you? Is that how you got your appreciation? You know? And I was like, well, no, I didn't really actually learn the value of gratitude and appreciation until like I got kicked in the ass in business. And said, in fact, if I think about it, I totally pissed away my college dreams of being a collegiate wrestler because I didn't appreciate it. Like I didn't have a gratitude for it. Like I didn't walk out on those high school mats like grateful that I actually get to do this. Right? I was a punk, man. Like when I felt so unfair and like a victim, and my parents couldn't pay for things, and like, dude, I ended up dicking off and choosing wrong friends and ditching wrestling to go snowboarding, and started smoking pot, and then started dealing pot. And I actually threw my dreams away because I didn't have appreciation and gratitude. Right? So I share this entire story with you because as my son's on the way home to turn in his car keys, and I'm sure he's upset. His mom told me he was crying. You know, it's like I had this epiphany from talking to my wife. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give him a couple options. So we have this long talk, and I won't share the whole thing with you because I've already been talking for a little while. But I told my son, I was like, look, bud, I don't know what you would do as a parent. Okay, like parents don't always know what they're doing. Okay. In fact, most of the time we don't. You know, we all fuck our kids up, right? It just is what it is. Like we can give them everything in the world and do it perfectly, and that fucked them up because we made it too perfect, right? So we always screw our kids up some way or somehow. So I'm like, you know, I think sometimes I'm doing the right thing and maybe I'm not, and we're all different. We're all unique. So I'm wonder, like, if you were the dad, what would you do? And of course he didn't know. And I said, here's the reason that you don't know, because you can't actually fathom what love is until you actually have your own children. I said, when I was 17, having a baby for the first time, which is your older brother, Caden, and I was told over and over and over again to give him up for adoption or have an abortion. You're not ready for this, and all these things, right? Obviously, we chose not to have an abortion, right? Me and his mother both didn't agree with that. But like, we did heavily consider adoption because we were just kids, man. I was still in high school. And even though I turned 18 by the time I had him, like I've been 18 for like 3 months when I have this kid, right? And it's like, Kobe, why do you think I didn't give him up for adoption? And he's like, I don't know. I'm just trying to do the right thing. I was like, no, doing the right thing actually had nothing to do with it. It's because the second I held him in my arms, I loved him so much. And you will never know what that means until you hold your own child. You just don't know what that love is. And so it sucks to sit here as a dad and like try and think of what the right thing to do is, and you feel like I'm punishing you because I just want to prove a point. Like, dude, I love you. And so I thought about it, and I'm going to give you two options. I can take your car away. Okay. And I can take you off the car insurance, and I can teach you a lesson, and you will get it. You might be 26, you might be 30 something, but one day you are going to look back and you're going to be like, damn, my dad was right. I was an ungrateful little shit, and I needed to get my baseball taken away, and I needed to get a job, and I needed to learn how to work, and I didn't really know what gratitude was. I said, but if I'm being honest, Kobe, I also could just give you the gift of gratitude right now. Instead of having to take all these things away and giving you this long road like I had, because nobody knew how to teach me the true power of like gratitude, I could actually do it with you. I could create a formula with you to truly tap into like appreciation and gratitude. Like when you walk on the baseball field, do you actually like smell the grass and think, man, I get to do this? There's kids in wheelchairs that don't get to do this, man. There's kids in hospitals that would literally give up anything to have just one day to be out on this field. I said, I didn't think like that either when I was a high school wrestler. Man, I wasn't grateful that I had 10 fingers and 10 toes and all limbs and an intelligent brain that God's gifted me, an able body, an able mind, like a champion's heart. Like I took all that for granted, son. And so I love you so much. I don't want to take everything away from you and just make you go through all these challenges to grow some appreciation. It is a gift. And one day you will call me and be like, Dad, I'm so glad you taught me this lesson through the hard knocks. I said, but I'd like to try something because I love you so much. And I'm going to tell you what, you're going to make a commitment to me right now. You're going to download this app. Okay. The app is called Day One, which is a journaling app. And I said, you're going to do my formula. Okay. What my formula is. And I know I've talked to you about gratitude before, but I'm going to actually have you start doing it with me. Every day, you're going to start your day with reading a book. Physically reading, not an Audible. Okay. I do Audible and I read. I'm telling you, there's power. There's like power in actually like reading a book, and there's power in actually writing things down. I said, so we're going to read a book. I said, at least 10 minutes, bud. Like, and I gave him a book that I really enjoy, which is Beyond Positive Thinking, because it's really just a great read, especially to start with like, just adopting an abundant mindset at all and just a more positive way of thinking. And I was like, just start with this book. You can pick your own books as we go, but I want you to start with this book. I'll read it with you. We're going to read it for 10 minutes a day every morning. Okay. When you're at your mom's, you're going to read the book. I'm still going to read the book. Right. But at the end of the day, you're going to write down just 3 things that you are grateful for. And then you're going to write down 3 wins that you had that day, because that's just important for us to actually think back on the day and be like, what is a win, man? Like, okay, I got up early and I got right out of bed today. Like I didn't even have that weird negotiation of wanting to sleep in, right? That's a win, right? I texted my dad, I loved him. That's a win, right? I helped a classmate. I helped a teammate. I crushed my workout, like whatever. Like there's all these things we can count as wins every day. I want you to make sure that you are going back on your day and you're writing down 3 wins that you had after you write down just 3 things that you're grateful for. And then I want you to write down 3 things that you are going to win tomorrow. Okay. We're going to plan some wins. I don't care if they're small to start. You're going to plan your wins for the next day. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys there's this fantastic result because we're just in our first week of doing this. But I have this inkling that like, we don't do this as parents, right? It's like we go on as business owners, like we go on this personal growth journey and we do all this stuff for our families. And yeah, we might come home and teach them lessons and do all this stuff. But like, I actually don't know any parents, not one. I can't think of one that says, hey, I sit down and I do gratitude with my kids every day. And we screenshot them and send them to each other. And we plan out our wins and we write down our wins. I honestly can't think of one person, right? I know a bunch of entrepreneurs that do it for themselves and they go out and they grind for their families and they try to create these abundant mindsets and these mindsets of gratitude and they do all these things, right? They log their wins. But I actually don't know anybody that says, yeah, I actually do it with my son. Maybe they're out there. Message me. Let me know how it's been going for you. But my thought is that, like, I can either take things away and give him the gift of gratitude through all these hard things, or I can just start help feed his mind with the right things. Because, dude, I'm going to be honest with you. He created a negative mindset. Like, all through high school season, he was kind of bugged, man, because he is one of the top performers. But, like, as his batting average slipped a little bit, his coaches, they didn't play him as much. And he felt like, there were other kids that were still getting playing time, even though their batting averages were worse. And he just couldn't figure it out. And his conclusion was, they just don't like me. And I said, Kobe, come on, man. Like, come on. It's like between JV, varsity, like, come on. You got like 30 kids on the team. You think they just picked you to not like? Dude, you already know you outwork everybody. You already know you work hardest on and off the field. You already know you have all the ability. You've had these great momentum strides where you've been the top performer on teams all growing up since you've been 7 years old. So, like, it's not a lack of talent and it's not a lack of effort. What do you really think it is? And he knew. You're right. It's probably my attitude. So let's change it, because science tells us we have to be consistent with changing our thoughts to rewire our brain. So, and I know that. I had to learn all that through the hard knocks, right? So I'm like, man, but what if somebody would have taught me that when I was 15, 16 years old? What if somebody would have said, hey, let's sit down, let's do this together? And I don't fault my parents for that. They didn't know what they didn't know. I'm actually grateful for all the hard lessons that I've gotten, but I'm like, man, what if we can make a bigger impact in the world because we teach our children sooner how to be grateful truly, right? How to really feed their minds with positivity and journal it and write it down. So we talk about it on this podcast all the time, the power of gratitude, right? But I'm looking forward to, not really treating my kid like a test dummy, but I'm looking forward to going down this path with him, because if I'm sitting here calling him out on things, I'm actually mirroring things for me as well. I'm like, man, you know what? I've kind of slipped in some areas as well. When we talk about gratitude, and I said this to his mom, I said, grateful kids grow and negative kids never quite hit the mark. Right? Just sheer hard work, even though they're negative, they'll go pretty far, but they'll never truly get what they're after because they don't get the fulfillment from it. And so I'm just excited to take my son on this journey and do it together, because I've slipped a little bit too, man. I'm I still do my gratitude and I do my praying, but it's something's been missing, man. And so I'm getting a little more purpose out of doing it with my teenage son. And I share this whole lesson with you guys because it's raw, it's recent, it's relevant, and I've just realized we all build these things because we want to leave a legacy. And we sometimes think, and I'm guilty of this, we think legacy is these things, these assets we're going to leave behind. And that's really just a part of it, man. I could, and I hate even talking about politics because I really don't follow it a whole lot, but when I create a lot of wealth and abundance, I don't want to create entitled children maybe a Hunter Biden, right? That's got cocaine problems and he's had everything handed to him. He gets these shady deals done with other countries, right? I'm not saying I believe everything in the media, but it looks like the guy has a pretty miserable life and everything's been handed to him. And then you look at somebody like a Donald Trump, and it's his kids have had a lot handed to him, but they're independent, and they're self-reliant, and they're bright, and they build nice, beautiful things like hotels and brands, and they run really awesome companies, and it's when you look at them, it's they seem morally, ethically bright, shining souls out there doing some pretty cool things in the world, versus dark things from this entitled, spoiled child. And so I use that as just a weird contrast, right? Don't beat me up in the comments over if I like Donald Trump or Joe Biden. I do like Donald Trump. I've learned a lot from him. But when I look at what he's built in a family, it's man, he's done something right to build these self-reliant children into amazing adults. And he's done that through educating them as they go. And so the whole lesson is nothing to do with Donald Trump or Joe Biden. The whole lesson is, that might've been a really shitty analogy, but the whole lesson is man, let's make a difference in our homes, man. I learn from my kids all the time, and I'm so grateful between my talks with my wife and being in this negative state about my kid being in this negative state and wanting to teach him a hard lesson to you know what? No, the truth is I've just failed. I failed to really lead him and start putting positive things into his mind and actually take him on this journey with me of constantly trying to improve and increase my gratitude so that there actually is fulfillment in my wins every day. And so I am just sharing this with you because some of you might want to join on that journey as well. And I think the sooner the better, man. I really do. My other son just turned 8 and he sees me having this conversation with Kobe, and now his interest is piqued. He's bright enough to know okay, I get what you guys are talking about over there. I want to be happy. I want to have appreciation for things. I want to actually give thanks and be grateful for the things I get to do versus like all, like not take things for granted. Like he gets it. Like we had cool conversation with him. He wants to get in on it. So like get started on stuff like that, I don't know. Hopefully that does something for somebody that listens, but I just wanted to share that because I thought it was just a really cool shifting moment for me personally and for my son. And that's the whole point of the show, man. Is just be real with people and give things that might help them as well. So I'll keep you guys updated. I'll keep you updated as like I see the shifts happening because I know I will. And ultimately, I think he has been negative for a little while. So I think I'll be able to see here in the next couple years like a really big shift. Obviously, in a couple months we'll see some shifting, but I want to see in a couple years like does this kid have some really big goals? I want to see if he's forcing and just trying and it's out of this place of negativity that I've seen lately where he's not quite getting the results. He's still producing, but it's not quite the results that he wants versus like a whole new mindset of appreciation and gratitude and see like how much more he gets by like being happy and fulfilled on this journey of trying to hit his goals. Right. So anyway, that's it. That's all I have for you guys today. Thanks for letting me share. I love y'all. Appreciate everybody that tunes in and listens. If you guys have any questions about this, shoot me a DM, either on my personal Instagram or on the Real Business Owners Instagram. Shoot me a DM. I love to collaborate with people. And you know what? Maybe you do teach your kids gratitude, and I've just been behind on that. And if so, I want to hear about it. Like, let me know the kind of difference you see, right? But anyway, we all know gratitude's powerful, man. I'm looking forward to this journey with my family and actually including them more in it. And I think if we include our family, our children that we're trying to lead on these path of not just gratitude, but just growth and abundance, I think that will make a bigger shift for them and they will get to live brighter lives quicker than having to learn through the hard knocks, right? And not that there's not still going to be hard knocks, but, I think that it's going to be a different outcome. So anyway, love y'all. Thank you all for everybody that tunes in. Please drop us a rate and review like always. But until next time, much love. Appreciate y'all. Peace.